Welcome to the DataViz lab at Georgia Tech, and we're going to continue our D3 intro workshop, and we're going to go ahead and move on to step 2. So if you remember from last video, we talked about going to the GitHub page, and we're going to go back there again, and this time we're going to click on step 2. And step 2 is basically going to be about organizing your D3 project folder and splitting up your files into a index.html file, an index.js file, and a style.css file. And this is important because we want to have the JavaScript all together in its own file, so that's why the index.js file. And we're going to have all the stylistic elements into style.css, and CSS stands for cascading style sheets, and that's where we're going to put all our like fonts, colors, and stuff, just because we want to separate all these things so that it's a lot more organized at the end. So we can go ahead and back to our editor and look at our HTML page that we set up in the previous step. And nothing's changed here, but within the folder that we saved this, we want to create an index.js file and a style.css file. So go ahead into your D3 basics folder or wherever you saved your index.html file and create a new file. Okay, we can just go ahead and do that in Sublime. So I'm just clicking new file, and I'm going to save this as index.js, and then I'm going to create a new file and save it as style.css. And now what we'll do is we'll go back to our index.html file, and where we have our style, we'll go ahead and copy and paste that, delete it from our head. That's in line 6, and then we're going to put it into style.css. But because this is a style document, we don't need the HTML tags of style anymore, so we can get rid of those. And then we can get rid of the P as well. Or actually, no, we need the P because that specifies what element we want to change. So to organize this more, we're just going to tab all of these things and save it here. So in the style, all that should be there is the P tag, font size 20, color red. And then in the index.js file, we want to take our script, and the same thing, we're just going to copy and paste that, delete it, paste it in here in the index.js file, and all we need is the alert. So we're going to delete everything else because those are script tags, which are HTML documents, HTML elements. And so we basically split up everything here. So we can go back to the D3 workshop and then click on these files to see if they match. And so if you're lost in any of these pages, you can just follow along. So yeah, one thing we need is the link to the style sheet. So you can go ahead and copy and paste that from step 2 index.html. And what this does, it tells the HTML file like which style sheet to use, like which fonts and colors you want to use. So we want to link it to our style.css file, and it's going to match because we call it style.css. Make sure these two match, otherwise it won't work. And we also want to include the link to our JavaScript file. So the way you do that is script source index.js, and they have the names of the match. And you put all of that in the head because that's where we said earlier you want to link it to other like libraries or like files and stuff. And to make sure this works, we're going to go ahead and run the page again. So wherever you had that folder, you want to double click again. And the alert works, the JavaScript fill works, and the style works, right? Intro to D3 Basics Georgia Tech. And we can see now that our organization is completely straight. It's good to go. So another thing we want to talk about, if you look in the D3 workshop, is SVGs. So let's go ahead and create a simple circle, right? So we can go ahead and look at the format for this. So we start off with an SVG element tag. We specify the width and height, which is required, and then we close it. But inside of it, we want to add a circle. So we create a circle tag. CX means where it is on the SVG. So it's going to be 50 across and 50 down. So X is across, Y is vertical. So 50 across, 50 down, and the radius is going to be 40, and we're going to fill it with red. So let's go ahead and write that. We can go ahead and type that out. So in our basically this is going to be an HTML tag. So let's go ahead and create an SVG. We're going to specify the height, the width first. And the way you do that, as you can see, is width equals 100. and height is equal to 100 as well. Close that opening tag, and then make sure you close the entire tag. I'll create a circle, and the arguments for that, cx, cy, and r. So cy 50, cx 50, and r is equal to 40. And once we have that, we can close it off. And then, because we can do everything in line, which means like we're saying the arguments as well as closing it without the backslash there. But we also wanted to complete the fill argument, which is red. So we're basically creating SVG with 100, height 100. So that's just going to be a scalable vector graphic where we're occupying 100 pixels of width and 100 pixels of height. And then inside that SVG is going to be a circle in it. And it's going to be right in the middle because we specified that it's going to be 50-50. So of this SVG, it's going to be 50 across, 50 down, and it's going to be red. So if we refresh that page, we're going to get the alert, and it looks like it did not work. So we're going to look at our console and see what went wrong. For some reason it's not opening up. Okay, here we go. We're looking at the elements and the circle does not show up. So why is that? Oh, it's because we forgot the quotation here. So make sure you complete your quotations, otherwise it's not going to run. It's going to give you an error. So then when we have this, you're going to see a circle come up. So the reason why that didn't work earlier is because I didn't have a quotation here, but now that I do, the circle pops up. So just to test it out, we can make the circle, we can make it smaller, 10 radius, and make it like blue. And after this index, we'll see blue circle here. And to get rid of the pop-up, you just have to get rid of this line, or you can comment it out. And the way I'm doing that on Mac is just Command/. So now you'll see, our P tag here, Intro D3 Basics, and then a circle here. And the circle is important because even though it's like a simple circle, when you have scatter plots, you're going to need multiple circles. And D3 will allow you a way to bind data to create those circles, which we'll talk about later. But what D3, we haven't used D3 yet, but we have used scalable vector graphics, and that's what D3 manipulates. So that's what we'll talk about in the next step. Thank you.